All right, it is Thursday, and we're here at Comic-Con, and we're here talking trash humanism with Destroy. Okay, and she's here, and she's going to tell us about her book. If this is your first book,
Yes.
So let me just. Okay, so tell us about first off, tell us about yourself and your history with comic books.
Okay, I'm Lady Destroy, and honestly, I have zero history with comic books. I'm a music person, but this project is a multimedia project, and so I wanted it to have, it to transcend mediums, and so it started with the album, and then I'm a very visual person, and I had a lot of ideas and had this kind of world in my head, and so I built it out and then collaborated with an amazing artist named Lourdes on it. And then we have the graphic novel, and it's really cool. I'm very excited about it.
So what is trash humanism?
So it's a riff off of transhumanism, the name. I'm really not into transhumanism, but trash humanism, it kind of explains the album as a whole. So the album was made up of three different pillars, which is opposition, advocating, and then kind of embracing things like part of the human experience. And so I came up with the name Trash Humanism because it just really embodied everything that I was talking about, and kind of the negative side of how we're progressing as a species without, beating hammer too hard on our downfalls. Yeah.
So tell us about your experience, putting the book together, because I know it's a wordless graphic novel. How did you go about, getting the musical vision into a comic book page?
Right. So Lourdes and we started working together, and I told her a little bit about my idea, and just to see if she was interested, because I really want to work with people that want to work with me and that kind of believe in my vision and understand it and are on board with the whole thing. Passion is really important. And so she kind of gave me a rough draft of how the formatting for how the panels are usually written up, and how the pages look like in language form. And so she sent me kind of a template, and then I just went at it and started writing it out and doing a lot of research around the world before, building things out, because there's obviously the visuals live in the world. So what companies live there, what are the drinks that exist, what kind of individuals, robots, synthetic humans, biological humans, what kind of corporations are there any organizations or alliances that live in this world, pharmaceutical companies, industrial companies that build machinery and equipment. So all of that stuff is alive in this world. So I spent a lot of time building out and researching different things, and coming up with also names for the corporations that actually do not exist in our world. So I was able to get the domains for those, so I can make it a more immersive experience down the road. So it was really fun, the development stage. You can really go down some wormholes, and I did. I went down some deep wormholes and learning about different things, and just to make sure, because I wanted it to be an accurate representation of possibilities for things.
How do you feel that your musical, your music ability, or your musical sense helped you in developing the layout of the comic and the world?
Right. So I'm a visual person. I can't make visuals because I can't draw anything, but I see things and I can communicate those things. And I'm a writer, at the very root of everything. In order to write music, you have to be a writer. It is musical writing, but you have to be able to tell stories, and you have to be able to put things in words, and it needs to be poetic and eloquent, and so I think that that really helps me because I'm not just a musician, I'm an artist, and I'm really good at writing. I've actually written a book. It's not published. It's not this. It's completely separate. But like I have done that from start to finish. I'm holding it for myself. I don't know if I'll ever release it, but it has been done. So I think that really lends itself very well, and having a background, being able to communicate your artistic vision to people, whether that's music, whether that's, you know, film, whether you're working on a music video, like whatever it is, that kind of experience and being able to do that, I think it's really important so that your vision translates to different things.
And as waiting for the interview, I was looking, and it looks like it's a lot of cyberpunk. How does that reflect your music?
At the visuals, so this is actually it landed more in like the biopunk niche.
Okay.
Yeah, which is it's a niche of cyberpunk, but it's interesting because I didn't realize that until it was done. And you know, I was working with, so I'm turning the game, or turning the graphic novel into a tabletop role-playing game by the same name, and I'm working with a Emmy award-winning author. He won a gold Emmy for his work on Warhammer, and his name's Chris Handley. And it honestly wasn't until I gave the graphic novel to Chris and we're working on it, and he's like, this is actually like, this is more like biopunk. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even realize it, like, but it is, and I'm stoked on that, and it does make a lot of sense in hindsight, just because I really leaned into the biological elements. You know what I mean? It's not like leaning into like cybernetic upgrades and things like that. It really is kind of putting a little bit more humanity back into it by going like the biological route with the, you know, future.
Now, do you have plans to do another graphic novel with, you know, words maybe this time, or?
So you know, the game is going to expand on the graphic novel, so it's going to have some things that I wanted to include in the graphic novel, but just time just wouldn't permit. It just ran, obviously, like scope creep, you know, happens with any of these projects, and so I kind of had to like reel it back in, and I wanted to have these elements, but it just didn't fit in the timeline. So those will be included in the game, like the manual, like the book for the game and stuff, and will give me more of an opportunity to explain the world more, and you know, so people will actually see it in words, which I think will be really nice.
And who are your influences musically, you know, in literature or anything like that?
So I'm a really slow reader. I've always been a slow reader, which makes it hard for me to like get through things. And I just don't have the time to devote to reading. It's really hard for me. And because I'm a visual person, when I read, I visualize things. And so that can be even more time consuming. But I do love like film and, you know, TV and like short form media. I mean, I love like animated series. I mean, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. I'm just, you know, like I'm a fan. I know people were like, it's all about Tila, but like it wasn't. You know, that was the storyline that was needed for the new Masters of the Universe, and it was fucking awesome. I loved it. I mean, and strong female lead character. Come on, she's such a badass. But so. What was the question? It was about inspiration and stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily an inspiration, but there are a lot of things that I am fans of. I mean, I grew up watching X-Men, of course, like the original X-Men. It was like my favorite cartoon, and also He-Man and She-Ra when I was like the original, like the 80s, like love it. I had Castle Grayskull. Oh yeah, and you could like
Still have it.
Oh my god, and the bridge would come down, and oh my god, Cringer, Battle Cat, oh, he's the best. Okay, but so like all of that, I do feel like my love for that kind of stuff, I have a lot of it. There's a lot of nostalgia there for me, and with the animated series and stuff, I probably watch those more than anything else.
So where can people find out more about you? You find your music, or, you know, just more about you? And
I mean, you know, like everyone else, I'm all over all the different social medias. Mainly, you can find me on Instagram, on YouTube. I definitely interact with a lot of people on there. There's a lot of high engagement on the videos and things like that. And then my website is a really good way, because whenever anything happens, if you're not a person that's on social media, I'll send out emails. I don't spam people. I hate that. It's the worst. But if something interesting is happening, I will let you know.
Well, thank you for taking the time. I know you have a panel to get to, so thank you and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank